I like the taste of blood in the morning. Warm, metallic, sweet. It clings to the back of my throat like a secret. Most kids at Westbridge High start their day with coffee. Me? I drain a bag hidden in my locker before homeroom, leaning against the cool metal and swallowing until the ache in my gums finally shuts up. It's not glamorous. No candlelit victims, no swooning. Just me, a straw, and a plastic pouch stamped with a barcode. Efficient. Forgettable. Exactly how I like it. Westbridge makes hiding easy. The school's a maze of brick hallways and polished floors that smell faintly of chalk and floor wax. Students swarm between classes in pressed uniforms and fake smiles, buzzing about grades, crushes, parties. I slip through them like a ghost, invisible. Just Alex, pale, quiet, weirdly private. The transfer student who never eats in the cafeteria, keeping his head down and his earbuds in. And it works. They don't see me, not really, but I see him. Logan Ward, student council president, captain of debate, head of committees I can't even name, the one teachers hold up like he's proof perfection exists. He's tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of guy whose white shirt actually stays crisp all day. Deep brown curls that fall into his face at just the right angle, like even his flaws are staged. Green eyes that seem too bright for this place. When he walks down the hallway, everyone parts without thinking, like the tide giving way to the moon. And me? I'm just another body in the current, pretending not to look while my pulse jumps against my teeth. Admiration, I tell myself. That's all it is. Admire the golden boy, the one who's got the world in his hands, the one who probably doesn't even know my name. Safe, harmless admiration. Except it isn't. Not really, because every time he laughs, every time his arm brushes someone's shoulder, every time his green eyes flick casually across the room and, God forbid, land on me, the hunger spikes. My fangs ache, my throat burns. My reflection in the bathroom mirror looks wrong, too sharp like it's straining against the glass. It isn't just admiration, it's thirst. It's instinct. It's the kind of pull I shouldn't feel for anyone, let alone him. Logan Ward is perfect, untouchable, golden, and I'm the vampire stupid enough to want him. A few days later, I was late, again. It wasn't even my fault this time. Okay, maybe a little. I'd wasted too long in the bathroom, rinsing the metallic tang from my mouth, checking my teeth in the mirror, to make sure no red stains them. One slip and I'd be exposed, and I wasn't planning on torching my fresh start at Westbridge because of sloppy cleanup. So yeah, I slipped into class a few minutes late, muttering an apology, bracing for the teacher's glare. But the glare didn't matter, because right there at the front of the room, bam, Logan Ward. He wasn't even supposed to be in that class. He was just there, leaning casually over someone's desk, his sleeves rolled up like he'd been working, curls tumbling across his forehead, his whole posture so easy it was unfair. He was explaining something. Geometry? Algebra? I couldn't even hear the words because my brain just fuzzed out. Everyone was watching him. Not the teacher, not the board, him. Hanging on his every word, laughing when he did, nodding like he was the second coming of Einstein. And then he looked at me. Just a flick of his eyes, sharp and curious, like he'd been expecting me to show up late. Like he knew me. That was it. My throat went desert dry. My gums ached like my fangs wanted to break skin right there. And worse, my chest tightened, because something about him pulled, like gravity. Like he wasn't just another perfect boy, like there was something under all that shine that I wanted, needed to see. I muttered, "Sorry, traffic," and slid into my seat, praying my face didn't look as red as it felt. But the whole time I could feel his eyes at the edge of my vision. That was the first time, the first hit, and I knew it. I was screwed. After that, it was like gravity. No matter where I went, there he was. The cafeteria, Logan at the center table, effortlessly charming, tossing his curls out of his eyes, leaning back like he owned the room. He wasn't loud, but everyone around him laughed like he was the funniest guy alive. His friends clung to him like planets orbiting a sun. The hallways, always striding like he had places to be, shoulders straight, smile easy. Teachers lit up when they saw him. Students moved aside without even noticing they were doing it. I tried not to stare. I really did. But then he'd be leaning against a locker, pen in hand, scrawling notes for some council meeting, and I'd catch myself memorizing the way his hand moved, the way his jaw tightened when he was thinking, the way his voice dipped softer when he was talking to someone shy. And every time I looked too long, every time I let myself imagine what his pulse might feel like under my lips, my fangs ached. I told myself it was just a crush, that it wasn't real, wasn't dangerous, just me being an idiot vampire with too much free time. But then I'd see him smile, and it wasn't just admiration. It wasn't just an attraction. It was hunger. And beneath all that golden perfection, there was something else, something darker, hidden. His eyes gave him away sometimes. Green? Yes, but shadowed, like he carried secrets too heavy for his perfect shoulders. And the mystery? God, that made it worse. 2 weeks later. It was late. Too late for anyone to still be at school. The halls were quiet, the kind of quiet that hummed in your ears. I liked it that way. No voices, no smells of sweat and perfume clogging the air, no thudding heartbeats pressing on my skull. Just silence. I'd stayed behind under the excuse of studying. Really, I just wanted space to breathe. Then, sound. A door clicked shut down the hall. Sharp, deliberate. Curiosity tugged me closer, and there he was. Logan Ward. The golden boy himself, but not golden now. His jacket was half-buttoned, shirt untucked. His hair was a mess, sticking to his forehead. And in his right hand, something long and glinting. A blade. Not a kitchen knife, not a pocket knife. A hunting blade. The silver edge caught the flickering, fluorescent light, throwing it back into my eyes. My gaze dropped lower. His shirt, white perfect, was stained. Dark patches are spreading across the fabric. Blood. My hunger kicked hard, instinct first, brain second. The scent hit me and I wanted to lunge, to taste, to drink. Then horror followed, because why the hell was he carrying blood? Why was he carrying silver? He looked up, saw me, and he didn't flinch. Didn't hide the blade, didn't fumble some excuse about spilling paint or cutting himself. He just smiled. Slow, sharp, like a secret he'd been dying to share. In that breathless second, I felt hunted. Every instinct screamed to run, to vanish into the dark. But the other voice, the dangerous, traitorous one, whispered, "Stay, watch him, want him." And I knew my crush wasn't innocent anymore. It was dangerous. And I was already in too deep. The next day. That night followed me home like a shadow I couldn't shake. Every time I blinked, I saw it again. The silver blade flashing, the blood on his shirt, that smile carved sharp enough to slice me open. I told myself I'd imagined it, that maybe it was a trick of the light, that maybe it wasn't blood, maybe it wasn't silver. But no amount of excuses dulled the way my throat had burned at the scent, or the way his eyes had pinned me, unblinking. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. I lay awake, turning over every smile he'd ever given me, every perfect word, every casual touch. All of it? Suddenly suspicious. Had he been watching me this whole time, waiting for me to slip? By morning, my chest felt bruised from the weight of it. But I still went to school. Of course I did. Where else was I supposed to go? And worse, I couldn't stop looking for him. Like part of me needed proof it hadn't been a nightmare. The day dragged, Every hallway a blur of faces, every second stretched thin with nerves. Logan wasn't in any of the places he usually was. Not the cafeteria, not the council office. He was gone, like he'd slipped out of existence. Until after school. I should have gone home. I should have avoided him. But instead, I found myself in the library, hiding behind towers of books, trying to breathe. And then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate. And suddenly, it all made sense. He hadn't disappeared. He'd been waiting. For me. I turned and there he was. Logan Ward, walking toward me like he had all the time in the world. No friends, no audience, just him. Perfect smile, shoulders relaxed. My stomach did its usual flip and twist. He stopped at the end of my table, leaning down until his shadow stretched across my notebook. His voice was soft, almost kind, but the words cut like glass. I know what you are. 4 words. That's all it took to unravel me. My throat locked. My chest caved in. I wanted to laugh it off, say, what? A bad student? Or a loner? But his eyes, sharp, knowing, unshakable, told me he wasn't guessing. He knew. And suddenly, every memory I had of him, every smile, every nod, every casual hello, flipped on its head. None of it had been real. None of it had been innocent. He hadn't noticed me because I was interesting. He'd noticed me because I was prey. The golden boy wasn't a dream anymore. He was a hunter, and I was already caught. After that day, I felt him everywhere, in the hallways, his green eyes tracking me when he should have been. Paying attention to the crowd. In classrooms, his chair angled just slightly toward me. His smile stretched too perfect when teachers called on me, like he was waiting for me to slip. In the shadows, late walks home, the hair prickling on the back of my neck, the sense of being followed, always turning, always finding nothing. Until one night, when I glanced back and saw him leaning casually against a lamppost, smiling. He never said much in public, but when he passed me brushing close enough that our arms almost touched, his whispers were enough to hollow me out. Slip up once, Alex. Just once. You can't hide what you are forever. Maybe I'll let you run first. Just to make it fun, it should have terrified me, and it did. But it also lit something else in me, something worse, because every time he leaned too close, every time his breath grazed my ear, my fangs ached. My hunger burned. He wasn't just chasing me, he was feeding something in me I didn't want to admit. A few days later. It didn't take long before everyone else got involved. The vampires whispered first. A warning passed through gritted teeth in the locker room. Scribbled notes shoved into my desk, cornered whispers in the night. You can't let him live. He knows he'll gut you the second he gets the order. Strike first, Alex, before he does. Their words were poison, but they weren't wrong. Logan was a threat, a blade with my name carved into it. But the hunters weren't quiet either. I heard them too. In the way Logan disappeared for meetings, in the way other strangers with sharp eyes lingered around the edges of school property. The way Logan came back from one of those meetings was tighter, tenser, his smile thinner. They were pressing him. Kill me. Prove his loyalty. Stop hesitating. And me? I was stuck right in the center, suffocating. My kind demanded blood. His kind demanded mine. And every time I closed my eyes, I saw him. Smiling, waiting, wanting. I told myself I should fear him. That was logical. Smart. Survival 101. But logic didn't explain the way my throat burned when he brushed past. It didn't explain the way my fangs ached when he leaned too close. It didn't explain why, deep down, part of me wanted to let him catch me. A week later. It started in the hallways again. I'd been trying to lose him, ducking corners, slipping through classrooms, pretending I was going to the library when really I was just circling, waiting for the moment my nerves stopped pounding. But Logan, he always found me. I knew he was there before I saw him. The quiet footfalls behind me, soft but deliberate, echoed too closely in the empty corridor. My skin prickled, fangs aching, heart hammering. I spun around and there he was, leaning against the lockers with that too-perfect smirk. "Running again?" he said, his voice low, teasing, dangerous. "I'm not running," I spat, trying to sound braver than I felt. My palms were slick, my claws itching under my nails. "I'm avoiding you." He laughed, soft and dark, and stepped forward, green eyes locked on mine, sharp and unrelenting. "Avoiding me won't help," he said. "You know I always catch what I want." I felt my stomach twist. Want, fear, hunger. Everything is swirling together. "Then stop hunting me," I hissed. "I'm supposed to," he said, tone quiet now, almost fragile. "I should kill you?" "I know what you are, Alex. You're my target." The words hit me like ice. My fangs itched harder, jaw tightening. Every instinct screamed to lash out, to vanish and hunt back. But another part of me, the one that had been staring at him for months, longing for him, worshiping him, twisted painfully. "Then do it," I growled, snapping. "Go on, finish me." He stepped closer, and suddenly we were pressed in a narrow corridor, walls on either side, the faint smell of floor polish and blood mixing in the air. He pinned me, his forearm against my chest, and the strength behind it made me stumble back against the lockers. "I can't," he whispered, his green eyes blazing, voice low and strangled. "I should, but I can't." I stared at him, barely breathing. "Why? Why not?" He swallowed hard. For the first time, I saw something raw fracture his perfection. "Because you're not what they told me you'd be," Logan said. His hand was trembling just barely against my chest. "They said vampires were monsters. Predators? But I've watched you, Alex. I've seen you turn away, bite your own tongue instead of lashing out. I've seen you looking, scared, lonely, human." His voice cracked a little. "And I tried to hate you. Tried so hard. But the more I watched, the less I could. You were never a target to me. Not really. I kept looking for reasons, any reason, to let you go." His admission stung, soft, devastating. "So you..." "Hurt too," I whispered. He nodded, desperate. "I couldn't make myself hate you. The way you looked at me, like I wasn't a monster either. I think maybe I needed that more than any of these rules." The words were almost unbearable. Almost. Because my hatred, my hunger, my fear, they all collided in that instant. Rage boiled hot in my veins. "Then step aside, coward!" I hissed, fangs glinting. He didn't. Instead, he leaned down. Slow. Intentional. Our foreheads brushed, his breath tickling my lips, his weight against mine. The world narrowed. I could feel the quick drum of his heartbeat, the heat radiating off his body, the tremor in his fingers where they pressed against me. And then, fire! Our mouths collided. Not gentle, not forgiving. Half fury, half surrender. Teeth scraped, lips pressed hard, tongues clashing. I shoved him away with one hand, pulled him closer with the other. His hands tangled in my hair, in my shirt, gripping me with that perfect, maddening force that made me forget everything except him. I wanted to bite him, to taste him, to claim him, and I also wanted to surrender, to feel him everywhere at once. When we finally broke apart, my chest heaving, his forehead pressed to mine, I saw it in his eyes, the same storm that raged inside me. "I'm supposed to kill you," he said, voice raw. "Every rule I've lived by says I have to, but I can't. Not you. Not like this," I laughed, bitterness on my tongue. "Because I'm not dangerous enough?" He shook his head, agony flickering in his eyes. "No, because when I look at you, I see someone who's just as trapped as I was. I see someone who never got to choose." There was longing in his voice now, achingly honest. I don't want to repeat their mistakes, Alex. I don't want to lose myself just to prove I'm loyal. Not when being with you is the first thing that's felt real in years. And my fangs ached. My blood screamed. My mind screamed. He wants me too. God, I hated that. I hated that I wanted him anyway. Hated that I craved the one who was meant to destroy me. And maybe, deep down, he hated it too. But not enough to stop. Over a week later, it started small. A glance across the empty cafeteria, a brush of hands in the library aisle, whispers in corners of the school where no one dared to walk. Logan and I had found our rhythm, a secret language of touches, glances, and heartbeats. One afternoon, after everyone had gone home, he led me up to the old gym. Dust floated in the air, sunlight filtering through broken windows like tiny golden specks. The place smelled of old wood and metal and him. Warm, dangerous, intoxicating. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, that infuriating smirk on his lips. "You're lucky I didn't kill you in the hallway today," he said, voice low, teasing, eyes glinting with fire. "Lucky?" I whispered, moving closer until our shoulders brushed. My fangs itched, but not in anger. Hunger. Hunger for him. "I think you wanted to." He stepped forward, closing the last bit of distance, fingers curling around my jaw, thumb grazing my cheek. "Maybe I did," he murmured, almost dangerously soft. I shivered. Not from fear, though part of me always feared him, but from the sheer pull of him, the magnetic tug of wanting something forbidden. And then he kissed me. Slow. Teasing. His lips pressed to mine, then pulled away just enough to make me ache. Teeth grazed, playful, testing. I hissed, fangs brushing his bottom lip. "Always so impatient," he teased, hands sliding down to my waist, tugging me closer. "Only for you," I whispered, voice rough, heart hammering. I tilted my head, lips brushing his again, tasting him, teasing him. Hours passed like minutes. We hid in corners of the school, stolen moments between classes, secret touches in empty hallways, fingertips brushing over textbooks, hands laced under tables. Every touch sent fire coursing through me. Every look made my fangs ache, my blood hum, my mind spin. One evening, after sneaking into the gym late, he pulled me into a shadowed corner, pressing me against the wall. My back hit the rough wood, and he pressed his forehead to mine, breath mingling. "Alex," he whispered, voice low, shaking just a little. "You know this can't last. We could both get killed. I should stay away." "And yet you don't," I murmured, tilting my face up, lips brushing his. "I know you don't want to." He groaned softly, capturing my lips in a desperate, hungry kiss, fingers threading into my hair, pulling me closer. My hands gripped his jacket, tugging him even closer, reveling in the danger, in the thrill. It wasn't just passion, it was war, and surrender, and forbidden love. Every stolen kiss, every lingering touch, every whispered word in dark corners of the school strengthened the bond between us. And I hated it. Hated that I loved him. Hated that I wanted him more than life itself. But I couldn't stop. That night, after everyone else had gone, we sat with our backs against the cold gym wall, silence stretching between us. I looked at Logan, shadows flickering across his face. "What makes me different?" I asked quietly, almost afraid of the answer. Logan didn't look away. "You make me want to be someone else," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "When I'm with you, all the hatred, all the rules, they stop mattering. I just want you. Just Alex." He exhaled, shaky. "And if that means betraying everything I was raised to believe, then so be it." His thumb brushed my hand. I let my head fall to his shoulder, listening to the steady beat of a heart I knew I'd never taste, but could never live without. 2 days later, it started with a flutter at the edge of my vision. A whisper, low and cautious, carried down the empty corridor. Mira, his council friend. I knew that sharp, measuring look anywhere. She was leaning against the far wall, green eyes narrowed, lips moving like she was passing secrets I wasn't supposed to hear. My chest tightened. My stomach lurched. Every brush of Logan's hand across mine, every private glance we'd stolen, every kiss in the shadows. I'd thought we were invisible, that no one could see us. And now, that illusion shattered. I spun slightly, heart hammering. My fangs ached, my blood humming, every instinct screaming alert, predator nearby. Logan noticed. Of course he noticed. The corner of his mouth twitched, the barest smirk forming. His green eyes caught mine across the room, sharp, teasing, knowing. It was infuriating, exhilarating, dangerous. I realized then, as my gaze flicked back to Mira, that we were never as private as we thought, and it thrilled me, made my blood hum. I swallowed, trying to steady the pulse in my throat. I hated that part of me wanted to take that thrill, wanted to let him see me wanting him as much as he wanted me. Logan stepped closer, his presence filling the space between us, his body heat brushing against mine. He whispered, almost too soft to hear over my own pulse. Someone always notices. But I don't care. That line, so simple, carried weight heavier than any blade. He didn't care who watched, didn't care what the rules said, didn't care that he was supposed to hate me, fear me, kill me. And somewhere deep, I realized I didn't care either. The tension didn't stay quiet. Hunters whispered first, their voices sliding through cracks, echoing in empty classrooms, carried on the wind through corridors. "Finish him now," one hissed. "Stop hesitating, Logan." "He's your target. No exceptions." I froze, teeth grazing my bottom lip. The words cut through me, sharper than any silver edge. I felt the walls closing in. I knew they were right. Logan should kill me. He had to. And the vampires, my kind, weren't quiet either. Their warnings were icy, delivered in corners of the night, behind doors, in scribbled notes. End him before he ends you. Every syllable carved into my chest, my mind, my bones. The pressure was suffocating, and yet, Logan was the only one who hesitated, the only one who lingered, who pressed closer instead of finishing the task he'd been given, the only one who made me ache with want and fury and frustration all at once. I hated that he could do that. Hate that I needed him to do it. Hate that his presence set my blood on fire, while his restraint twisted something inside me that I didn't know I could feel. I wanted to scream at him, bite him, push him away, pull him closer, all at the same time. My body was betraying me, just like his was betraying him. I shivered, fangs aching, stomach coiling, and I knew, if I didn't act soon, the noose would tighten from both sides, and there'd be no coming back. 3 days later, the old gym, quiet dust motes drifting in the dim light, boards creaking under our steps. It had become our sanctuary, our trap. I pressed myself against the wall, panting, fangs glinting. Logan was in front of me, eyes burning green, shoulders tense, lips parted slightly, hands twitching like he wanted to strike or pull me closer. I couldn't tell which. "You should kill me," I whispered, voice low and sharp, trembling just a little despite my bravado. I've lived long enough. Maybe it's time. He froze, breath catching, fingers brushing my cheek lightly. "Maybe I should," he murmured, voice rough. "If only I could." My heart hammered so fast it hurt. My blood roared in my veins. I surged forward, and all the fear, all the fury, all the desperate longing exploded into him. The kiss was inevitable, violent, half surrender, half defiance. Our teeth clashed, fangs scraping lips, breath mingling, noses bumping, hands gripped, shoved, tangled. I wanted him, needed him, more than I wanted air, and he wanted me. I knew it. Every tremor in his fingers, every hitch of his breath, every flicker in his green eyes screamed it. He shouldn't want me. He should hate me. He should kill me. But instead, he kissed me back like the world could burn around us. When we finally broke apart, foreheads pressed together, chests heaving, I saw it clearly. He was fighting as much as I was. He knew the rules, knew what he should do, knew he should end me, and he couldn't. The thought should have terrified me, and it did. But instead, it made my hunger sharper, my desire hotter. Because if he wanted me as much as I wanted him, if he was willing to risk everything for a moment like this, maybe, just maybe, there was a way for us to survive. A week later. The gym was dark. Dust clung to shafts of moonlight streaming through broken windows, floating in the air like tiny sparks. My lungs burned with every shallow breath, my muscles taut, fangs itching, claws itching. Every instinct screamed run, every instinct screamed fight, and yet I didn't move. I couldn't. Logan stepped into the center, eyes burning green in the dim light. He closed the distance with a predator's grace, hands pressing me to the wall. Deliberate, controlled, but not lethal. I could feel the heat radiating off him, smell the faint tang of blood and soap. His fingers curled around my jaw, thumb brushing along my cheek, tilting my face up so our eyes locked. "You should be afraid," he whispered, voice low, ragged. "I'm supposed to kill you." "I want you to," I spat, teeth bared, claws scraping his jacket. "Do it." "Stop pretending." His eyes flickered, sharp with hesitation and something else I couldn't name. "I can't. Not like this. Not you." A noise beyond the broken gym doors. A shout, metallic echoes, footsteps, made my blood run cold. The hunters had arrived. Their cheers echoed, vibrating through the floor, through my bones. Pain exploded as a shove threw me to the ground. Knees buckled, arms scraped along dusty wood. I hit hard, gasping, a high, ragged hiss leaving my throat. Silver glinted in the shadows. The hunters' voices rang in my ears. I believed it. Believed I was done. That Logan had failed, or maybe succeeded. I lay there, chest heaving, every nerve screaming. And then came the fire. My locker, my books, my secret collection of trinkets and blood vials, all burning. Flames licked upward, smoke curling into the corners. My carefully curated world, everything I had clung to, gone. A part of me wanted to scream, to claw through the flames. Another part, smaller but stronger, wanted to crawl into Logan's chest, feel the warmth and protection behind the destruction. And then I realized that even I was dying. I loved him. I closed my eyes, letting the smoke and heat curl around me. Let the ache in my bones and chest remind me that Logan had done this for me. I woke hours later, disoriented, bruised, heart thudding like a drum. For a second, I wondered if this was the afterlife, but it seemed too eerie to be that. I was in the gym and it was too silent. Smoke had cleared, and there he was, leaning against the wall, eyes soft but intense, that familiar weight of authority and danger in his stance. "You're alive," I croaked, trembling, voice hoarse. You let them—" "All of it," he said, cutting me off, voice low, firm, dangerous. "They think you're dead. That's enough. You don't get a choice tonight. The fire, the shouts, the cheers, it had all been staged. Every heartbeat I thought was my last, every thrill of danger, every second of panic, it had been his plan. A flawless, terrifying, reckless plan to protect me. I let out a shaky breath, relief crashing over me in waves, mingled with awe, love, and the faintest edge of fear. He stepped closer, fingers brushing my cheek, thumbs tracing my jaw. "We fooled them," he murmured, voice so soft it could have been a secret. Every cheer, every shout, fake. Every mark, every bruise, they weren't real. Not really. You're alive. I made sure of it. I blinked, disbelief and wonder mixing with the ache in my chest. How? He smiled faintly, eyes glittering green in the dim light. Timing, smoke, fire, and a little trick with the blood. You looked convincing. He leaned down, brushing his forehead against mine. And I wouldn't let anyone hurt you. Not them, not anyone, not you. I searched his face. Why did you do this, Logan? You could have let them finish me. Prove yourself to all of them. He met my gaze, his own steady, clear. Because I chose you, he said quietly. Not a legacy, not a duty, not what I've been told to be. You changed everything for me, Alex. You made me realize I could choose something else, someone else. And I'd do it again, no matter the cost. I swallowed, heart hammering, blood thrumming with hunger, desire, and relief. His touch grounded me, steadying the storm inside me. My fangs ached for him, but this time it wasn't danger. It was him. Just him. Now, he whispered, voice rough, we run. And I let him. Let him pull me into the shadows, into the unknown, into the life we'd stolen from the hunters and the world alike. A life where we survived, together. For the first time in months, maybe years, I believed it. He was supposed to be my end, the one who would destroy me. And instead, he became my beginning. Later that night, we left the city the same night, slipping through back streets and hidden alleys Logan alone knew. Every touch was electric. Every brush of hands, every shared breath, every press of bodies in narrow passages reminded me of the gym, the fire, the stage death. I leaned into him, shivering, heart still hammering. His fingers laced with mine, guiding me, steadying me, holding me like I was fragile and precious. You're mine, he murmured, voice low, rasping, almost a growl. No one else gets to decide. And I believed him. Couldn't help it. Every glance, every heartbeat, every hurried step through the dark streets threaded desire and danger together. It was exhausting, terrifying, and intoxicating all at once. We were fugitives now, two predators on the run. But for the first time, I wasn't terrified, not entirely, because we had each other. And somehow, I knew we'd survive. A few years later. Months later, we're somewhere else entirely. New city, new names, new lives, or at least that's what we tell anyone who might ask. I'm walking down a narrow street, Logan's hand tight in mine. His fingers are warm, grounding, reminding me I survived, we survived. The city hums around us. Cars, voices, lights, but it feels distant, almost muted. Just him, just me. I catch my reflection in a glass window as we pass. Red-rimmed eyes, fangs pressing against my lips in a way that never quite leaves. My instincts flare, that old, sharp pulse of hunger, the thrill of being hunted, the pull of danger. For a heartbeat, I tense. Old fears, old rules whisper through my blood. Prey, hunter, kill or be killed. But then his thumb brushes the back of my hand, slow, deliberate, soft grounding. And it's enough. I squeeze his hand back, feeling the steady beat of his confidence, the weight of him next to me, the silent promise that we're in this together. My heart slows. My blood still hums. But it's a different kind of thrill now, one I can savor without terror. We walk a little further. His jacket brushes mine, his warmth against mine, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I feel free. He was supposed to be my end, the one who would hunt me down, who would decide my fate, and instead, he became my beginning. I glance up at him, and he smiles, Not smug, not teasing, just him. The boy who hunted me, the boy who loved me, the boy I would follow anywhere. And I know whatever comes next, whatever hunts or dangers or choices await, I wouldn't have it any other way. Because we're together, alive. And for once, the game is ours. The end. When danger feels like desire, can you trust your own heart? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force, and consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.